Okay, welcome everybody to another Cycling Time Trials Evening 10. It's on the usual V718 course, which for those that don't know is in the UK, South Cave out Hull way. It's the UK's fastest 10-mile time trial course, and generally sees pretty fast times, winning times on it. And the virtual version that I've been covering now for the last few weeks, we've had best of 21 minutes and a few 22-minute results. So 21 is currently the best that I've recorded. And Rob Stone took the win last week with a really good ride. So we'll see what happens tonight. The idea of a 10-mile time trial for newcomers is it's a race against yourself. You're not racing other riders because you go off at 10-second intervals. In the real world, you go off at 1-minute intervals. But here on RGT, we're going off at 10-second intervals. So each rider rides his own ride. There's no drafting. Drafting is turned off. So if you see a rider pulling up behind somebody, he's getting no benefit at all other than the visual indication. The fastest riders don't necessarily start at the front. And in fact, I think Rob Stone was the last rider on the road last week, and he took the win. So the person out front isn't going to be your winner. Could be, but most certainly probably won't be. And what I'll do is I will swap views. I'll try and get most of the riders, if not all the riders, going off the line, while trying to keep an eye on what's happening further up the road. There'll be some favourites which I will recognise, I'm pretty sure. So I will have an idea who's in contention from previous week's rides, but there could well be a rider that surprises me and catches me out. And before we go any further, you'll have to excuse my voice. I've still got a very heavy cold and sore throat, which I've had for over a week now, and has stopped me riding on RGT. I'm not actually riding tonight. All I'm doing is commentating, but it does involve me having to get on the bike and spin the pedals. But I'll try and do my best, despite the fact that my throat is absolutely in a mess at the moment, and finding it very hard to talk. So what I will do is I will follow the riders off the line as best I can, and then switch views once we've got all or the majority of the riders away up the road to see what's happening and how riders are doing on the road. Now, because it's such a short event, as I say, the winning time's likely to be 21 or 22 minutes, and you've got a good number of riders on the start line, then it could be that the race is well underway at the front by the time I get back to it. But I will catch all the riders coming over the line, so every rider will get a finishing position. And what I've managed to do in previous weeks is call out the winning times. I mean, obviously, me calling them out is only provisional, but there's a point on the road that I use to watch the riders coming over the line, and I'm usually pretty accurate at at telling you what the times of the riders are, and we'll certainly know, if there's gaps between the riders, who's won. But before I end the broadcast, I will also head on over live to the RGT DB website, and we'll get the actual positions. So don't log out, stay with the broadcast, and as I say, at the very end, when the last rider's gone over the line, I will confirm. Usually I confirm the top 10 placings. So we'll see what happens. I always enjoy covering these events. As I say, tonight's a bit more difficult because I'm struggling with my voice. But I really enjoy these events. Just long enough to be of interest and just short enough not to be overtaxing. So, except for the riders, of course, they're certainly going to be taxed, because time trialing is known as the race of truth. There's no hiding, because you're not riding against other riders. You're riding for the best time you can do, and so you're riding against yourself. Okay, well, I'm going to prepare now because, as I say, I have to jump on the bike. So I shall mount up. I don't know who's off first, but it could well be me. I could well be the first man off. I'm really not sure. It kicks off at 8 o'clock, which is in another minute's time. So I'm very close to the front end. So I'll either be first or second rider off the line, I believe. Certainly in the top 5 anyway. But we'll see if we can catch every rider going off. And there's our first rider. Mr. Hudson. So he's first rider off. And then you've got Pritchard following him. And then Kemp is just making his start, and then I'm next. So I better get on the bike. And here we go. I need to... okay. And then I'll get back to the riders, obviously starting as soon as I can. It will... There's me. And Glover's just about to catch me. And then Wooly is just starting behind Glover. So, as I say, Glover's catching me because I'm pulling over to the side of the road. As you can see, Wooly will be coming past me very shortly. And then we'll have the next rider on the road starting. And, oh, it's nice to see somebody else in Team 3R kit as well. So there seems to be a gap between Wooly and the next rider off. Yeah, that certainly does. There's Wooly. Why are we not? Ah, there we go. There's Inman. Now, perhaps because somebody has signed up and then for some reason hasn't been able to start, that's why you get the gaps of more than 10 seconds between the riders. I worked that one out the other week. It's because the rider that's scheduled to start doesn't actually start. So you get more than 10 seconds between the riders. And there you've got Laurel going off. Now notice the actual ride for them doesn't start until they get up to speed. They have to cover so many meters as like the pre-warm up before the timing actually starts. The timing doesn't start immediately. Now this is Stuart Smith. He's the organizer of these events and races every week. It's good to see him on the road, and he's a contender for certainly for one of the top places. And you've got Hitchcock going off and Hammond. if I get time to, and there we've who's this that's gone off? Walsh. Yeah, let's follow Walsh. And then Girat giving me a wave. Thank you, Girat. And looking back. Becky, he's a regular here every week. And I think this is our first lady, Staley. A good turnout tonight, I'm glad to say. It's showing 25 riders, but I think we've had more than that. So see what happens. Little, he's another regular rider. And it's Bonner, Eric Bonner in the Team Free Arcade. Thank you, Eric, for supporting the team. We've got team placings open if you want to join. Texera, don't know much about this rider. Now, in future weeks, what I'm going to be doing is I'm getting myself sorted out with my stream. I've already made a couple of improvements, but I'm going to be doing more streaming on RGT, and I'm going to be doing more race coverage. Here's Bayliss going off the line. And Ferreira, now he's a contender. He always puts in a fast time. So expect good things from him. And is Rowbottom the last rider off the line? Yep, here we go. So this is the last rider on the road setting off. I'll just follow his start and then we'll get to the front end and see who's leading out and how far they've got to go. Okay, so we're 4 minutes in at the moment, give or take. So let's get to the front. Now Hudson, I don't know whether he left first, but he's certainly out front now. And he's covered 3.2 kilometres. So what we'll do is we'll work his way back now. We've got plenty of time. There's Pritchard. He's going well. Glover. He's obviously doing well because look at the distances covered. So Woolley. White. And another good indication is if you keep an eye on the top right of the screen and look at the speed, that will give you a good indication in this early part about who are the fast boys. As you can see here, Kemp's doing 31 kilometres an hour, but if you go forward to Mr. White, he's doing 10 kilometres an hour faster. So not on exactly the same part of the course, but even so. Always expect good things from Stuart. So Stuart's putting the pace out. Look, 43 kilometres an hour. So he's not hanging about. Hodges. Now then, let's just have a look back here. Yeah. Hitchcock has just gone past Laurel and he's catching up with Hodges in front of him. So Hitchcock's on a ride here. He's really pulling out a ride. Already passed, and I don't know who that is. We'll catch up with him. Walsh, another. I mean, look at his speed. So Walsh is almost certainly going to be a top three today. I can say that quite confidently just looking at his speed. I've covered enough of these events in real life and now digitally to know who the contenders are and who's going to. In fact, this could well be right up there with a winning ride tonight because you've got no Rob Stone. Ferreira could have something to say about it, but at the moment, I would say Walsh is almost certainly one of the leading riders. Although Hitchcock's putting in a really good effort here as well. I say that, and then Hammond is coming past him. So yeah, but we are on the downhill section, so you're going to see fast pace here. As I say, Lawbecky's perennial favourite here is he's out every week supporting this race. In fact, quite a lot of the riders that are out tonight are here every week. I mean, here's another one, Little, and I can't remember all the names, but one of the things I was telling you about, I intend doing is I intend keeping a notebook on riders and events they take part in, and I'm gonna eventually build up a profile. I'll probably take some data off the RGTDB website as well to help me, but I'm going to start building up rider profiles and learning rider names, because at the moment, there's goes Ferreira, look, absolutely bombing it. I said he'd be a contender, so expect Ferreira to be a top three today, or could well be the winner. We'll know as we get further into the ride, but yeah, he's putting in a sterling effort here. There's Mr. Bonner. And there's our leading, well, the only lady, I believe, tonight. And she's last on the road at the moment. So we're going to be very. Now, what happens now, folks, is I can't linger on riders very long. I will on the contenders for a few moments more than I will on the other riders. So Ferreira is definitely a contender. Okay. Bayliss also. Um, So I quickly shift in between some of the riders because there's very little time to actually cover the riders more than a couple of times each. Now you can see Walsh is still pushing out, and look at his power. You know, he's pushing out 400 watts here, close to, sometimes a little bit over. So he's really a very strong rider. Good cadence, good steady cadence he's keeping. And that's always the key to a good rider. If you know, if he's keeping a smooth cadence, he's catching up with Stewart quite nicely here. And expect his cadence just to go up slightly as he approaches Stewart. That's a usual tactic. You like to go past a rider. Um, well, I did, and that always used to be my tactic. I always used to increase my cadence just a couple, and he has done, just a couple of turns as I'm catching and going past a rider. And there's Stewart. We'll come back to him in a moment, but let's just see what's happening further up the road. These riders all look nice and steady. We've got Glover, Pritchard, and then Hudson is still out front. With 8.9 kilometers to go. So he's our leading man. So now what I can do is I can actually start to work my way back again. So we got Pritchard, we got Glover, we got Inman. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. We're also going to switch views. There we go. And then we'll get the riders coming towards me and we can see who's catching who, as in Woolly and White. I do love RGT's spectate mode. I had issues with it at the weekend because I kept getting kicked out of a 3-hour event. But apart from that, I really do enjoy using this software. So there's Walsh putting in a good ride and Stuart Smith. But yeah, you can clearly see by the watts he's putting out, 9 kilometers to go for Walsh. And this is what we call the turn. This is the big turn on the course. So Walsh has got to the turn in 10 minutes, so I'm expecting a really big time from him. When I say big, I mean small, but big in terms of effort, small in terms of time. I think it's going to be a very fast time tonight. There's Hodges. So as I say, I can't linger too long on any one rider, I'm afraid. I have to quickly pan my way through them to give every rider the chance of being highlighted and seen on screen. Bayliss is putting in a good effort here to catch his 10-second man, Austin. So when this kind of action, and there's Austin giving us a wave as well. When this kind of action happens, then obviously I like to stay with it, but then I have to quickly get Ferreira's coming up nicely. So, and then we got Miles, and you can see riders behind swapping positions. I know this Rowbottom looks to be putting in a really good ride as well. Yep, I think he's going to catch Miles. I'll come back to them as we work his way back up the field. There's Bonner. So we're getting towards and there's the last lady on the line. Now, as I say, this race, you're racing against yourself. You're not racing against other people. So where you finish, you know, you're aiming for the fastest time you can do. It doesn't matter whether you're first or last, as long as you're doing your best time. When I say first or last, I mean first or last on the road. The first and last riders on the road won't be the fastest and the slowest necessarily because of the starting order. I hope she's not stopping though. I hope she continues on. There's Bonner. There's Miles. Racio Racing. So I was watching those guys at the weekend putting in a fantastic performance in the March Monuments series. Their team did a fabulous job. And if you haven't watched the race video that I put together from Saturday's race, the March Monuments race, over the Paris-Roubaix course, then go to my channel and find it, because the race tactics were fantastic. The racing was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the finish, you would not believe the finish. It's worth going to watch the video just for the finish. But the rest of it, I mean, the team tactics and everything was absolutely fantastic. So Bailey's caught his man. He's way behind Laura Becky at the moment, though. Gear up. Lauro, Hodges. And you see, there's no drafting turned on in RGT. So if you see a rider, you know, closing up behind another rider and sitting on his wheel, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. In the real world, you'd be banned. You'd be disqualified. But in virtual world, with the drafting turned off, makes absolutely no difference at all. Other than the fact that Hitchcock is a carrot for Hammond to chase. And there's the benefit, actually. And if Hammond does go past, then obviously he becomes the carrot for Hitchcock. So it can help, but there's no, you know, you still have to put the watts in. That's Stewart doing a really good ride. Woolley. And look, Walsh has just gone sailing past White like he stood still. So let's just highlight Walsh and look at him just passing riders like he's in a different league. He really is in a different league. I watched him racing the other week and just blew me away. He's 5.6 kilometres to go. It's not going to take him long to cover that distance. Glover's 200 metres in front of him, so, well, 180. And then you've got Pritchard. I think he's going to be caught by Glover. In fact, if we switch the camera around, look, you can just see Glover making the catch. And there's the beauty of this spectator software. You know, I can just flick the camera around and we can get action like this. So, and what you can do in this instance is if you flick, sorry, let's flick to Glover and look at his speed, he's 38.5, and then you flick to Pritchard and you can see why he's making the catch, because he's doing like 3 kilometres an hour more than Pritchard. So he's going to sail away. Walsh is further behind them, but let's just work his way forward and find out who's in front of Glover. Well, you can see on the road he's going to catch Hudson as well, and Hudson is first man on the road. So it's very likely that Glover could be first man on the road. But I'll tell you what is totally unexpected to me, and it will be the first time I've seen it happen in the weeks I've been covering. We start to work our way back. You've got Walsh in 4th place on the road, and he started way back, and he's overtaken all the riders in front of him. I actually think that Walsh is going to finish first on the road as well as first in time tonight, which is just phenomenal. I mean, you don't usually see that. You expect them to put in the fast times, but you don't expect them to also take over the front end of the race from way back down the field. But that's exactly what he's doing. And I'm going to stay with him because as he passes these other riders, because he's going to come past Pritchard, no trouble at all. I mean, just look at the... and Hudson's actually putting in red figures, you could see on screen there, to try and stave off the catch by Walsh. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn there he goes, he's caught Glover as well. So let's see whether he can, and he can see Hudson. He can see Hudson up the road. This is absolutely amazing. With 3.5 kilometres to go, it'll be by the time, probably less for Walsh. We'll find out in a minute as I flick onto him. Hudson has got 3.6 kilometres to go. Walsh has got 3.5. That's just absolutely amazing. And look at his cadence. It stayed smooth and steady, 88, 89. It's just, this is wonderful riding. And his power numbers, he's managing to hold it at the 400 and over mark for the majority of it. That's 4.6 watt kilos. That's pretty good going. So what we got 3 kilometers to do, and he's done 17 minutes. Now then, let me calculate. I think this is going to be a 21-minute ride. It's going to be a long 21, but I think this is going to be a 21-minute ride. I mean, if he speeds up towards the in the final kilometre, then it could be better than that. But this is a 21-minute ride he's doing. Absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to catch up with a couple of the other riders and see where they are. But we're going to have to get back to him because he's going to be finishing shortly. So Glover's possibly going to catch Hudson as well. Pritchard, White. I'm keeping this view because you can see which riders are catching. Stewart, as you can see, went past Woolley. He's doing a wonderful ride. So I want to see how Ferreira's doing though. He was way down in the field, and I expected to see him by now. So where is he? There he is. He's not going as well tonight as I think he has in previous weeks. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but I don't think so. Although that's not a bad time. I can't knock the lad. Okay, back to the front. I just do not want to miss Walsh coming over the line. I mean, we'll go to me. I'm 20, and who's next on the line? Bonner is last man on the road. Okay. But Walsh has got 1.5 kilometres to go, and I'm going to stay with him because I want to see his time. and I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Let's get a good view so that we can see the banner coming up and zoom in a little bit. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call his time as he goes over the line, and it's going to be a 21. Yeah, he's definitely doing a 21 here. It's not going to take him 2 minutes to cover this distance. And look at his speed. He's actually, I mean, yes, he's on a slight down slope at as we finish, but he's actually increasing his speed as well, and his cadence. Look, and that's the key. If his cadence goes up, his speed goes up. Now his cadence was 88, but look at the finishing flourish he's putting in here. You know, he's knocking his cadence up into the mid 90s. And there's the clue, guys. If you're going to time trial and you want to up your pace, you simply up your cadence. You don't. I wish he was wearing a heart rate monitor. That's my only gripe here, because we could see the kind of effort he's putting in. And this is, you know, I thought it was going to be a long 21, but it's not. This is fantastic effort. Absolutely superb. And definitely the winning time tonight. Nobody's going to come in and beat this tonight. So yeah, 21. But what 21 is he going to get? Let's have a look. $21.39, I'm calling it. Okay. So we got Hudson coming in as well. Now I'm going to start zooming out because I want to catch riders that are catching each other. So we've got Hudson on the road. We'll watch him coming in. And I'm going to try and get every rider crossing the line. It's not always possible when riders finish close together, and we've got one coming up behind Hudson, only 30 meters behind. So I'm going to have to switch quickly from one to another. And then we've got two riders very close together. But Hudson's putting in is just going to get a 24 here. Just got his 24. And then we had White with a 23. And then these two are finishing 24 and 24. So this is a 24-minute run for both of those two riders. Then Inman with a 23. Well done, Inman. And then Stuart Smith, he's going to get a 23 as well. So good on you, Stuart. But the 21.39 from Walsh is stunning ride. Really, really good ride. Okay, and a 23.31 for Stuart. Hammond with a 23. Hitchcock with a 23. So a lot of 23s tonight. Woolley with a 25. I'm doing well at the moment. Managed to catch every rider at the moment. So that's nice. So Hodges, major struggle to make a long 24. It's maybe a 25. In fact, it's going to be a 25. Yeah, he's not going to cover that distance. So this is going to be a 25-minute ride. And who's behind him? Garrett's behind him. Whoops. Come on. Get back to Hodges. I don't want to miss him crossing the line. Now then, is he going to prove me wrong? Is he going to get a long 24? I hope he does. Come on, he has. He's got a 24. I thought he was going to get a 25. Well done, Hodges. Yes, I love to be proved wrong. Well done. This is another 24. Well done, Garrett. Okay, and Bayliss with a 22. That's a good ride. And I said Bayliss was riding well. That's a good ride. A 22 from Bayliss. So that's currently second place, because it was a short 22. So Lauro with a 25. And Austin with a 24. And we got Ferrara coming up very quickly to finish with a 23. Now he's done better than that in previous weeks, so Lobecki with a 24, but that's still a very good ride. Little with a 24. Rowbottom is going to get a 23. So this is another good ride, a short 23. Yeah, well done. Miles with a 24. This will be what we call a long 24. Anything over the 30 seconds of the minute, we call a long. So if he goes over the 30 seconds, which obviously you can see he's going to do, then we call it a long 24. If he finishes before the 30, then you're allowed to call it a short. I hardly ever use the mid-term anymore. I either call them long or short. So this is a long 24. Yeah, well done, Miles. Tixera, he's going to do a 25. I think he can cover this last 300 metres in 350 metres, and yeah, he can. So this will be a long 25. Come on, lad. Keep it going. And we're very near the end now. We've had a couple drop out. The lady dropped out, which I'm very sad to see, actually. We need more ladies entering these competitions. I must have a word with my mate, Kate Cruella. She could do well in this, and she's training for a ride across America. So yeah, nice ride, 25. And Kemp, come on, can you get the? No, I don't. No, he's not going to get the 29. So this will be a 30-minute ride, I think. And then we've got Bonner, last rider on the road. So Kemp is the penultimate rider. I need to just jump on the bike so that I don't get kicked out. Just in time, I think. There we go. I'm not going to get kicked out of the race. I've done it in real life, Girat, and I think I did I definitely did a 22 on this course. I'm not sure. I've done 121 in my life, and I think it was on the one up in near the Lake District, that fast course up there. Can't remember the code now. So my fastest on this would be a 22:40, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a 22:40, which is 1 second slower than our winner tonight. But that was a long time ago when I was riding the road and everything. So yeah, we can't compare with me now. I mean, I'm going back. When would it be? When I was time trialing, that would be certainly more than 20 years ago anyway. Yeah, and some probably. Yeah, a lifetime ago. Good times though. The likes of Blair Buss and nice finish there. Nice finish. Okay, folks, and that's a wrap. But as promised, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fire up the RGTDB website and check the times for you. See whether I called it correctly, but that's not important. What's important for me now is Right, have we got it in the results, or am I going to have to go to events? Yeah, events. So there we go. Now, sometimes they posted the results, and I called it correctly. Paul Walsh has won with a 21-minute 39-second 0.6 ride, average of 4.55 watt kilos. So I said he was going some, and that's a fantastic result. Chris Bayliss finished with a 22.54. So another really good ride. Andre Ferreira finished with 23.15. So that's your top three, but I'll give you the rest. Matthew Hammond had a 23.16. Mark Rowbottom, I wonder if he's any relation to the Rowbottom I used to race with. Anyway, 23.18. So a little to choose between fourth and fifth. Terry White took sixth with a 23.21. Stuart Smith, the organiser, took seventh with a 23.31. And then Hurricane Hitchcock, what a name! Hurricane Hitchcock took eighth with 23.32. Simon Inman took ninth with 23.46. And Leon Girat took 10th with 24.12. And a really good watt kilo to boot. So that wraps it up. Paul Walsh with 21.39 was the winner tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. If you're still with me, please give the video a thumbs up and a like. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, because I cover this event every week. I'm going to start covering the 25 on the weekends when we get a bit of time. At the moment, I'm covering the March Monument series. But when that ends, I'll likely cover one or two of the 25s on the weekends. So I'm supporting RGT and the promoters. Please support me by hitting that subscribe button. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.